Pryor sort of take you under his wing somehow?
I mean, he took everybody under his wing because he had that variety show that he had on, I think it was NBC. It was like, the first show was amazing because he had this thing, he said, it's pans up here. So he's not wearing, you think he's just got his shirt off. And he goes, look at me, it's Richard Pryor. I'm on TV. I didn't have to give up anything. I'm on NBC live. And then they pan down and he's a Ken doll. He's got no genitalia. And then after that, they started saying, Richard, you can't do that, And then by the time the last show aired, they said, okay, Richard, he was kind of angry at them, and they said, okay, just film me doing stand-up. And they said, oh, great. They filmed him for 45 minutes. They had 30 seconds they could use.
That was it.
Yeah, but it was like, everybody was Mooney, Sandra Bernhardt, everybody. He just hired all the comics to be like his players in this comedy troupe, and it was pretty wonderful. But I think he just loved hanging out there, and, you'd see him backstage. One night somebody yelled out at him. They said, Richard, do Mudbone. And he went, fuck you. You do it. You know it better than me. And he did a piece one night that was the most beautiful piece I'd ever seen him do. He did a piece about God coming back to Earth to pick up his kid.
Uh-huh.
And he's going, where's my boy? And he had everyone, and they go, you want to tell him? And he went, I don't know. Get the Pope. He'll tell him. I go, where's my son? We killed him. What do you mean? Well, we killed him, but he came back, and then he split. And we haven't seen him. And then Pryor looked around and went, and then God was about, I'm going to destroy him. And then all of a sudden he took a moment and went, all right, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm not coming back. I'm going to leave you love. And if you fuck that up, you're on your own. And he walked off stage, and you can see the entire audience go like, huh?
What?
He never did it again, but it was a weird kind of like, I just went, the most strangely beautiful piece. And the response of the audience was like, ta-da. That wasn't a character. No, that was just him.
I love that kind of shit.
It was wonderful. It's like those nights you see when you go on and someone says something so fucking wild and wonderful.
And deep.
Deep. So deep that even people in the audience are going, that's deep. I don't know how to respond.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too deep. It was.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I was thinking of when I was coming down here, is that, despite whatever problems you had throughout your career, that I never sensed any animosity towards an audience.
You can't be angry at them. I mean, I remember one night.
You can't.
I can't. No. But I can't. I mean, there's times when I've run across hostile audiences.
Towards you?
Yeah, I mean, but just because they're hostile towards everybody. I mean,
right.
I remember one audience one night, years ago when I was on stage, they were sending up kamikazes, which was vodka and lime juice. Mm-hmm. And after about the third one, I realized, you want me to get fucked up? And I said it, and they went, yeah! And you want me to crash and burn? Yeah! And I was like, oh, fuck. I went, oh, I get it.
Did you do it?
No, I finally went, good night, because I went, I got to stop, because you really just want to see me pass out, don't you? And they would go, fuck yeah. It's that weird, from hanging with Sam, that they crash and burn, that's the way to go.
Well, I mean, but that's the way I did it. And that's because I was trying to put into perspective, like, despite my own drug and alcohol problems throughout the years, they never garnered me, any, if I was drunk or fucked up there, I would go after an audience. I would blame them. I would, I would say, I have opened shows by saying, what do you fucking want?
The worst case of that I saw was Keith Jarrett played recently at the Civic, I guess the concert hall, Symphony Hall, Davies Symphony Hall. And he's an amazing solo pianist, and he plays his things, but he wants absolute quiet. And if you cough, he literally, after he finishes the piece, he'll go, listen, people don't cough when I play in my studio at home. Can you try? And he called it a failure in concentration. The Japanese don't cough. And then finally, he played this beautiful piece, and it got to a quiet part, and this woman went, and you could see him literally go like this, and then he went up to the mic again to start to tell people, hey, that's not cool. And someone went, just play! And I went, it was like, dance for me, black boy. It was like, and you could see him kind of go, and he walked off. And then he came back out, because he realized, wait a minute, I can't let you win. He could have, because in Italy he told everyone to go fuck themselves. But he walked out on stage and he said, okay, what do you want to hear? And they started yelling requests, and he played some beautiful, like, old standard. And then he played Somewhere Over the Rainbow, this jazz rendition, really beautifully. And at that point, even the hardcore were like, great, I love you.
Yeah.
And then he did, and he walked off stage, he got the first kind of, and I think the hardcore, the people that are angry going, just play, they split. And then he did 5 encores, so by the 5th encore, it was just the people who knew, hey, and they were totally quiet, and it was so beautiful. By the end, he had kind of done the Buddhist thing of rather than tell them to go fuck themselves, he said, what do you want? Like you said. He did what they wanted, and then the hardcore, the nasty, the entitled white people who are now picketing now today, they split, and then what was left was the people go, I get it, we're sharing this experience. But it's like, it's so weird. Well, sometimes you get an audience that's just like the gift, and then other times you get, the audience from hell,
I just don't, I don't completely understand the non-angry based comic.
Well, I mean, I guess what's hard to say when, you've got like, there's not a lot for me to be angry at,
I guess that's true. I guess if
when
you
have
started
like a show, like especially when Mork and Mindy was on, someone told me, you used to come out and just, say hi, and people go, ha ha. I go, I haven't said anything funny. That's the scary thing is, there's that kind of, oh, you're famous, you're funny. But the weird thing is, what do you got to be pissed about? It was like that weird thing. I used to joke, and I was 16 before I went to Europe. No, that doesn't sound good. Don't you hate it when you have to walk to a private plane?
Right.
No, fuck,
How many people have problems with their maid?
Yeah. Well, one of my houses, it's like when all of a sudden there was the Malibu fires and people are forced to leave their second home. I went, ain't life a bitch?
Yeah, right.
It's like,
I guess that's true.
But it's weird, but you can still get angry with, like you said, ignorance or like just drunks. But being angry at a drunk is like bitch slapping a cow. It's not really effective.
Yeah. And I guess that's true. I mean, how old were you when you did Mork? I mean,
I was about 29, 27, and that was crazy shit. I'd go from, doing the show and then come to do the Comedy Store and then go to the Improv. And then you go hang out at clubs and then, end up in the hills in some coke dealer's house,
Yeah, sure.
Angel, it's Robin.
Yeah.
And then you'd wake up the next morning going, oh, and not even wake up, you haven't gone to sleep. And, you're like a vampire on a day pass going, how are you?
Yeah, and then you have to go do it again.
Mm-hmm.
I have no regrets. I met a lot of interesting people, logged a lot of hours.